Hello everyone, this is Mrs. McCreary. Today we're going to be talking about interest, both simple and compound, working from pure mathematics. Alright, so interest is money paid for the use of money. Principal is the amount of money that was borrowed. Amount is the total money that is being paid back. So it's the interest and the principal together. The rate of interest is the money paid for a given sum for a given time. So that's how much money you're paying back for the use of this other money. Alright, so simple interest is interest calculated on the original principal only. If you're looking for a loan, this is what you should look for. Okay, because you're only paying on that initial amount you borrowed. Okay, so the rule, you're going to multiply the principal by the rate, which is generally given in percent, by the number of years, and then divide the product by 100. So, if you're working with simple interest, you're always going to use this kind of formula. So it's principal times rate times time divided by 100. So in an example from our text, someone borrowed 420 pounds at 5% a year for a total of 3 years. So we have 420 times 5 times 3, times 3 over 100. Okay, so doesn't really matter what order we multiply things in. I only want to multiply by 420 once, so I'm going to do 5 times 3 gives me 15. 420 times 15, 0, 0, 21, 0, 0, 2, 4. Okay, so I have 6,300. And then we're going to divide that by 100. So we have Okay, so our answer is 63. You also could have, just crossed out your zeros. Anyway, so this is telling us that in addition to this 420 pounds, you would owe an additional 63 pounds after the 3 years. Right, so again, anytime you have simple interest, you're just taking the principal, the amount that was initially borrowed, multiplying it times your rate, multiplying it times your time. Now, at any place, because we're just working in multiplication and division, you can divide by this 100 at any point. So you could also write it as 420 times, if you're familiar with thinking in percents and decimals, I just took my 5, divided it by 100, and got 5/100ths as a decimal. So that's another option that you can use. Okay, in compound interest, the first rule, Rule 1, find the interest for year 1, as in simple interest, doing the exact same thing, and add that to your principal. Then find the interest for 1 year upon this amount reckoned as principal for the second year, and add it to the second year's principal, and so on. Subtract the original principal from the amount so obtained for the given number of years, and the result will be the compound interest required. So in compound interest, every year that it takes to pay the amount back, you're actually working with a new amount. So in our first example, with our simple interest, no matter how long it took, you're still only paying this interest on $420. If you were working with, let's say we're just going to work with 100 for now for a mental exercise. If you're going to borrow $100 for at 5%. In simple interest, you would just multiply it by $100 times 5% times however many years. Now in compound interest, the first year it would be $100 times 5%, and that would give you $105. So then the next year you're not paying your 5% on $100, you're paying it on $105. So then you have to find 5% of $105 and then work from there. So you're always paying a little bit more interest because you're paying interest on last year's interest also, or you're getting paid interest on last year's interest. The interest is not, it's not simple, it's always building up. Okay, so our numbers from our text. The principal was £360, the rate was 4%, and the time was 3 years. So using our formula from before, principal times rate times time divided by 100, we're going to have principal times rate. Now for this point, we're just doing it for 1 year, so we could write the times 1, or we could leave it off, either way, over 100. So I'm going to, never mind. So we're going to take 360 times 4. Okay, and then divide by 100. When we divide by 100, we're moving our decimal point 2 places to the left. So we have $14 or 14 pounds, I'm sorry, and 40, it'd be 14.4 pounds. For this example, we'll just go ahead and act as though this is in dollars. Okay, so now this is how much interest you paid that first year, but now to talk about the second year, it's no longer $360, it is $374.4 times 4% over 100. So now we have 374.4 times 4. Okay, so 4 times 4 is 16. 17, 29, 14. Okay, so now in the second year, instead of paying $14.40 interest, we're paying $14.98 interest. Then we would add this back into our, we would add this, the $14.98, to our $374, and then that would give us our third year. It's a lot of separate problems that you have to work through, but it gets you to the right point. You just have to be patient and go through all the problems. And then of course you would go ahead and add this in, so it would be 389.38 times 4. So go ahead, do that multiplication, divide by 100, and then you would subtract your initial 360 to find your just the amount of interest you would pay. There is another option, Rule 2. Divide the given rate percent by 100, putting the result in a decimal form. Place unity before the decimal point and raise the number thus obtained to a power corresponding the given number of years. Multiply the principal by the result, and we get the amount for the given number of years. So this one we can put in a nice equation. So we're going to have our principal times, it's not quite a nice equation, 1.0 rate Actually, I'm going to write that differently, sorry. 1 plus rate over 100, because unfortunately there will come a time in your life when that's not going to be in, it's going to be in double digits, particularly credit card interest rates, times to the power of your time. So in this example, again, we're just pretending this is in dollars, so our numbers are not going to match what's in your text. We have 360 times 1.04. Now the reason we're putting that 1 there is because that's instead of adding it back in. If we multiply it times 1, that's the same number. So we're saying it's 1 and 4%. It's the same as if you were saying 104%. So it's all of the value and another 4% to the third power. So 1.04 times 1.04. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. Really? So we have 1.0816 times 1.04. 24, 6, 32, 3, 4, 0, 0, 6, 1, 8, 0, 1. Add it together. 4, 6, 8, 4, 2, 1, 1, 1. Sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now we're going to be multiplying our 360 times 1.12484. All right. Okay, 360 times, yeah, I'm going to write that the other way. Six, 8, 3, 48, 49, 50, 51. Okay, so multiply by the principal to get the result, and then we get the amount for the given number of years. So in 3 years with compound interest of 4%, instead of paying back the $360, you would end up paying back $404.95. So you just have to, it depends on what you're doing. Again, these equations, you just put the values in and they will work for anything. So for simple, interest, we have principal times rate times time divided by 100. Other than it's a lot of multiplication, I would tend to go with Rule 2 for compound interest. So we have principal times 1 plus the rate over 100 to the power of time. And again, if you need to do something to a certain power, you are going to multiply it by itself that many times. So let me know if you have any questions, and I will talk to you at the live chat.